It is season 13 tier list time, baby. Bastion, no meaningful changes really. Like, he's really mid at best. Like, but there's just better picks than him. He's very middle of the pack. His ult sucks, really. Cass, probably the same boat. You know, he's good though. Cass is much more solid of a pick than Bastion, in my opinion. Diva, I think she's really good, but not quite S tier. I think Diva, she's just not as good as the other tanks, which is crazy. Yeah, maybe Cass is A. I think I will put Cass at A tier, actually, yeah. Genji, I'll say, is B tier, depending on what's getting played. You have a lot of heroes right now that deflect gets big value into, and because of that, he's kind of mid. Hanzo is B tier at best. To the 250 HP helps him a lot. I would say he's very, very mid. Very, very mid. Definitely not exceptional. J-Sil, also B tier. Maybe A tier, actually. I think I might put Junkrat in A tier. Like, his combo is back against a lot of different targets. And also, Riptire is really good. I think in ranked specifically, Junkrat is really, really good. Lucio's B tier. Juno is just a all-around better version of him that can get paired with Brig. And because Brig is what she is, like, you don't need Lucio's speed. Like, Juno is just an upgraded version of Lucio in every way. Mei. I'm going to say Mei's A tier. She's just DPS that can poke very well and live against the super tanks in the game. She's got good self-sustain. Her ult's not that great, but, like, it's still okay. She's just consistent and can live. And as a DPS, if you can't live against the super tank, then your hero's fucking useless and dog shit. So you can't ever play it. Mercy, I'm going to say C tier. She's just terrible. She can't stop you from getting bulldozed. She's just terrible. Like, the DPS that she damage boosts don't do enough damage to kill the super tanks anymore. That breakpoint got changed, so it's not really worth damage boosting somebody when you could play Juno or Brig. Pharah, super mid as well. I think she's like B. She's high B. Like, she's high B. Like, you can definitely pick her. I wouldn't change much about Pharah. I think I'm pretty happy with where she's at. Reaper, you don't see a lot of him because he's kind of niche, but Reaper's a really solid pick right now. Like, he does a lot of damage with his spread, and he can survive the tanks. He's got 300 HP, a Wraith form to get out, and teleport for mobility. He's a better flanker than Sombra is right now, which we'll get to later. Rein is A tier, man. Rein just lives forever. Like, Orisa being better, and like, I know he got nerfed a little bit, but with all the armor being as good as it is and the shield being as good as it is, on the right maps, Rein is actually pretty good. He can just survive. I don't think he's the best tank, but like, he has so much survivability nowadays that there's just not much that you can do. Like, you can't really kill him. Hog, super mid. I feel like I don't even need to elaborate on that. Orisa's been really good recently, again, with all the power creep that she's gotten, I guess, or reversion rather. Soldier, only playable on certain maps. He's horrible into armor tanks, and his headshots don't reward him. He's just been, Soldier's just been left behind, man. He's super diveable. He can't really run away that well compared to other heroes who have invulnerability cooldowns to get away from the tanks that are on top of them. Sim, I'm going to say is B tier, but she might secretly be A tier. The reason why I'm going to rank Sim in B tier is she's either horrible or really good. She can be really good into some Orisas that are farming your team because she pierces, right? And she builds her beam up. But if you get the wrong map for Sim or they're playing a comp that's not good for Sim, she's abysmal. So she's really hard to play. But she's like, to be clear, I'm ranking Sim there on an average across every map. She could be very good on some maps or very bad on some maps. It really, really depends. Torb, I think, is pretty sleeper. I think Torb is B tier. He's got good survivability. Molten Core is good into things like Orisa comps. Like, when shit's hitting the fan, your backline's dying, and you feel like you can't live, Torb is a good pick to go to default to sustain. So, yeah, I'm going to put Torb in B tier. Tracer, I'm always going to have Tracer in S tier. She's just an S tier here on ranked. If you look at the top 500 leaderboards on ladder, it's always going to be Tracer Widow players. She's so strong, so consistent. You can do so much. No surprise to anybody about Tracer being just one of the best heroes in the game. Widowmaker, game-breaking hero. The easiest DPS to get free value on in the game besides, like, Torb, I would say. Absolute god-tier character. Sombra's rework, and Sombra being as bad as she is, has now made it so there is just absolutely zero DPS option to contest another Widow unless you're a god-tier Tracer or you simply play Widow. It's just way easier. She's the only hero in the game that you can be 9 and 10 on and still be the #1 target priority of the other team. You can be 9 and 10, hold a lobby hostage. There's no other character like it in the game. She has no place in 5v5, and yet somehow, some way, she continues to be unscathed when she gets past this. And if you look at the top 500 leaderboards, it's all like you will see an enormous amount of Widowmaker and Tracer, an enormous amount, because it's just so easy. I think Widowmaker, after they finally fix Sombra, is the DPS that they have to look at. It's unbelievable that they looked at Hanzo as much as they did just to revert him to a slightly worse version of his original self and not look at Widowmaker when she has a better one shot, better range, better damage, no fall off, better mobility, better SMG option, better fucking everything. And these devs will not address it. They won't even acknowledge the problem. They will not even acknowledge the problem. And here's the thing. There's little things they could do to make it a little bit more manageable. A scoped glint, a laser, nerf her mobility if in 5v5 there's better peel from backlines and she's a sniper where a one shot is uncontestable by most of the cast, instantaneous. And a pick in this game is worth so much more than Overwatch 1. There is no way that she should have the grapple like she has right now for mobility. Like, think about this, guys. Hanzo only has a leap. Look at what they did to Hanzo. Look at what they did to Hanzo. Make this make any sense. The bias that is internally at Team 4 towards Widowmaker, where they refuse to do their job and address the character. Look at what they did to Hanzo. They took away his ability to pre-charge an arrow with wall climb. They changed how sonar arrow worked, right? They did all these things to let players be more aware of the projectile that you can react to, because getting one shot by something that you can't react to is insanely unfun, right? It's insanely unfun. They'll do all of those things to Hanzo, the only sniper that you can actually react to in the game, and they will do nothing to Widowmaker. It makes no sense. It's inconsistent game design. They acknowledge one-shots are oppressive, and they don't address the most oppressive one-shot in the game. They don't make Widowmaker commit to her position more. They don't give you a laser to see across the map. They let her do whatever the fuck she wants, and the only thing they ended up doing to Widow at one point was reverting her health nerf to make her better. The Team 4 balance team does not play the same game that everybody else plays. I can promise you that. Winston, I think, is A tier at best. Like, he's all right. He's not exceptional, but he's pretty good. He's pretty good. Like, good monkeys will get a lot of value. Zarya, I'm going to say, is B tier. I don't think she's exceptional. She's good into Orisa, so she could be good, but like Ram now insta-breaking her bubbles. Like, she's not an armor tank. And ever since they made those armor changes, if you're a tank that doesn't have armor, unless you get buffed to the degree that Queen got buffed, you're going to be bad. Zen. I'm actually seeing a lot more Zen post damage changes. He got some damage buffs, right? I think Zen is definitely a comparable pick to Alari now. Discord is the only way tanks die. It's very noticeable when you have a Discord on a tank now. Very, very noticeable. So, yeah, Zen, I think, is B tier. I'm going to put Ana in, like, A or B tier. I think she's B tier, to be honest. Like, Juno Brig are so much better than everything else that Sombra, horrible, 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 unplayable, horrible. You have zero individual playmaking ability. None. You have got to play as in an anchor position next to your team. The problem is, I've already talked about this a little bit, her escape tool, her only escape tool, is also her only way to engage. So you're stuck with 2 seconds of downtime. It would be like if the main way Tracer could regenerate blinks is if she used her recall, right? But you have to use blinks first to set up, and then you use your recall to escape when you don't have blinks, right? That's how stealth and translocator kind of have to work. And because the only way you can go into stealth is from using your translocator, you don't have your escape option when you're in. If you don't time it perfectly, you're just going to get shot out and then you're stuck. Orisa, S tier, man. I hate to say it, guys. Orisa's fucking back. Orisa is fucking back. She's super, super strong. Very, very strong character. The power creep has come back. She's very, very good with Juno and Brig because Juno can speed ring her slow, and you just have a fortified raid boss with no damage fall off, absolutely melting your entire team. Doom is mid. Like, he's just mid. He's not these guys, but he's playable. Like, there's some good Doomfist players out there. You kind of just have to play your life. It's very, very weird. So, yeah, I think Doom is pretty mid. I think Moira is also mid. Like, again, Guys, I want you all to understand this. There is an enormous gap between the other supports and Juno and Brig together. Juno, Brig together are insanely broken and by far the best support combo in the game. They are so good, especially with the rally buffs, with Brig getting a free extra bash on top of her shield. That's so weird. I remember in Season 4, they changed that. Everybody said that Flats and I were just dooming, and they're just like, content creators are just exaggerating again. And yet, if I recall correctly, that take aged like fine wine, and Brig became the highest performing hero in the game, the best performing hero in the game, at the same time that pay-to-win Mauga was in the game. Brigitte was better than the pay-to-win heroes in the game. And then they buffed Rally even more past that point. So yeah, Brig, you know, just way better than Moira. So yeah, no surprise here. Brigitte, S-tier character, even with the pack nerfs, does not matter. Pack's burst healing with Season 9 health pools are just insane. On top of the rally, Inspire has always been insane. Brig has been the best and most consistent support in Overwatch history. There's not been a support that's been better than Brigitte across her lifetime for long periods of time. Her fundamentally insanely overpowered broken hero. Ball super mid at best. Not an auto throw pick, but also not exceptional either. Just mid. Ashe. I think Ashe is insane. Bob got more buffs against Sombra. Ashe's only bad matchup, ironically, is against Widow. Ever since they gave Bob the tank passive, she was already good. Now she's insane. She's got one of the best ults in the game. Bob can outlive a Juno ult. He can do a lot. There's a lot of shit he can do. Bob's just super, super solid. I think BAP, I'm starting to see more BAP, but like, here's the reality, guys. Every support in the game is just B tier. Usually I would not put them in B tier. I think they're all A tier generally, like compared to other heroes. But I'm comparing them to the top end of the support role. And like the only reason I'm putting BAP in B tier is I want to get this point across to you guys about just how much better Juno Brig is than everything else. I'm not going to repeat myself again, but Juno Brig is just that much better than everything else. It really, really is. Sig, still S tier. I think Sig is still really, really good on his maps. I don't even have to explain how good Sigma is. He's just Sigma. No questions asked. Echo, I think, is like A tier. She's all right. Like, she's B plus, A minus. She's not exceptional, but she's pretty good, I guess. She's okay. She's definitely worse post-season 9 than she was pre-season 9. Echo is really good pre-season 9. Unfortunately, she's just been worse since then. But yeah, Echo, I think she's a solid pick. Solid pick. Soj, I think Soj is A tier. The Soj changes were great. Super interesting change. Being able to build rail off her disruptor and having the disruptor do more damage is a great change to her. She's still not quite there, right? But I'm going to rate her an A tier. She probably is B tier. I'm going to rate her an A tier solely because I love the changes they made to her. I think the changes they made to her were great, and it's giving her a lot of potential. And in an Orisa meta, she might end up being pretty good again. So we'll see. Queen. This might surprise people. Queen got power crept to no tomorrow, and Queen ult hard counters Juno ult, which is the best ult in the game. Queen in ranked, specifically. Not in pro environment, not in scrims, where you're playing a bunch of fucking goofballs on ladder. Good queens are insanely good, and there's a reason why, despite armor being as good as it is, that you still see a lot of queen getting played. You still see a lot of queen in ranked, and that's because she hard counters the best ult in the game. When they all, which we'll get to Juno, I guess, at the end, when Juno ult is still the best ult in the game. When you have an ult like queen ult that hard counters that ult, it's really, really good, just in ranked. I think Orisa is still much easier to play, and you do have to swap off Queen sometimes. But I do think when Queen is in the right situation, she's fucking incredible. Like, I want you guys to understand. She's probably actually A tier. I'm going to put her down to A tier. I don't think she's S tier. I'm going to say she's A tier. But, like, I want to put her up here. The only reason I'm not is because Orisa just fucks her shit up. Orisa fucks her shit up. If Orisa was bad right now, Queen would be to the moon. Queen has been power crept an unbelievable amount. She gets 2.2x healing from her adrenaline. 2.2 from her damage done. It's crazy. Queen gets fucked up bad to be knocked back, to be fair. And even then, even with heroes like Orisa and Brig being good, she's still getting played because she still is that good. They've power crept her that much. She's insanely strong. Kiri, I'll put Kiri at 8. I think Kiri's secretly still A tier. I think Kiri's still solid. I think Kiri has a leg up on the rest of these guys. I do. But she's still not Juno or Brig. Ram, I'm not sure where to rank Ram. I think overall he's a bit worse into Rhine in some matchups. But into things like Zarya, he 2-punches her bubbles. So I'm not sure where to put Ram here. I think he's still really solid, though. Lifeweaver, mid at best, B tier at best. That's it. All there is to say. I'm not going to explain that too much. Same for Alari. Juno is just better. Like, Juno is just forcing these characters into B tier. She is that much better than everything else. Like, Juno boosted a ton of people, too, which I'll talk about, I guess, in a minute. Mauga, I think, is A tier at best. Like, he's definitely on the better half of tanks and has situations where he's good and can get played. But Orisa being good hurts him a bit. So, we'll see. We'll see. He's not that bad in the Juno Brig. Mauga is definitely like a solid tank pick right now. He got some buffs as well. Venture's B tier. I don't think Venture's that good in the Juno Brig. Juno can just fly away from Venture. Brig just anchors and lives. So I think that Venture's just super mid. Very mid right now. And that leaves us with Juno. No surprise here. Best ult in the game. Insane healing output. Fall off damage does not really matter to her. Speed ring is just better Lucio. She's just still one of the best heroes in the game, if not the best hero in the game. Mostly because her ult is that good. Juno ult is insanely strong. Super, super strong ult. It beats out everything. Excuse me. So, yeah, man. That is my Season 13 tier list. Now, I admit, I'm not as confident in this list as I've been in other lists before. I think the middle of the pack is very subject to change, but I think I'm right on the top-end heroes. The top-end heroes are the top-end heroes. Like the S-tier ones, I know I'm right. I could be wrong on some of this. And I have intentionally underrated support heroes. Most of them probably are A-tier heroes, but I've done that because I really want to emphasize just how much better Juno and Brig are than everything else. It's hilarious how many content creators started to gaslight the community and thinking Juno was bad on release. I don't think people did. I just don't think she just didn't have an immortality, so people didn't realize just how good she was. But yeah, that's my Season 13 tier list. And Sombra will listen when they fix her stealth, she will shoot back up. Let me make this clear. She's an easy fix away from being a very solid hero that does a lot of damage. Okay, but right now she's not there. So thank you guys for coming today. I'm gonna go get some lunch and plan my Mindplex work for tonight because we got some play tests I got to do. I appreciate you guys, and I will talk to y'all later. Much love. Take care. Peace out.